to be a city that works. It's just got to be a city that works for everyone.
I will admit that I was one of those that tried to talk her out of running for mayor, as close as we were, because I knew they would just try to cut her up, and I didn't want her in that arena. And she said, let them try, let them try, I'm going to do it.
Then all of a sudden, it seems that the candidates just came out of the woodwork. I think there were 8 candidates, 4 really serious candidates, well-funded candidates. Now this is a job that pays $50 a month and breaks your heart. And each of the top 4 candidates spent well over $1 million, some is more than $1.5 million on that race.
That's your shot. By the way, we've decided we're going to let Fred Meyer be mayor. It's sort of his turn.
What about Annette Strauss? I mean, didn't she get the most votes Saturday?
Are you kidding? She talks about wanting to be the mayor of all Dallas.
We can't allow that.
Besides, she's not a member of the club.
Can we stop her?
It'll be as easy as this 6-inch putt.
Never has been a woman elected mayor of Dallas except Annette. And that says something more about who Annette is than what the city is.
Some may say that Dallas is not ready for a woman mayor. I disagree. I'm Annette Strauss, and I think the voters will look at qualifications and record of experience.
She never met an invitation that she didn't like. One of the candidates, a former congressman, a nice man named Jim Collins, said to me one day in the middle of the race, Ted, why I ever got into this race, every place I go, Annette's already been there. And I said, well, she works hard. I said, wait a minute, she's been there 2 or 3 times. I can't keep up with her. And no one could keep up with Annette. She was indefatigable.
The first exposure to the true grassroots campaigning that I had was with Annette. We were in front of a group known as the Progressive Voters League. It met in the basement of a Methodist church in South Dallas, predominantly African-American group. Of course, some of the other candidates weren't exactly comfortable in that environment. And Annette walked in without a fear because she knew the individuals in the room.
Annette Strauss was mayor during one of the toughest periods in Dallas's history.
The bottom had dropped out of the
There
economy.
was an enormous amount of racial strife at the time she became mayor. A policeman had been shot. An African-American child had been shot. The way the Dallas City Council was constructed from districts was being challenged in the federal courts as being unconstitutional. And it was in that framework that she came to be our mayor.
Well, we'd like to ask you one more question, Madam Mayor.
She understood the politics of the moment, that this is what we can do now. This is how we can best address this now. It's not an end, it's a beginning. Let's start at this point. Let's go from here, but let's move forward. Let's not move back.
The greatest intersection of all of Annette's talents, loves, abilities was her role in bringing to life what is now just been recently named the Annette Strauss Family Gateway Center. All Texas cities began to experience an emerging homeless population in the late 70s and 80s.
It's not a popular subject. Dallas, Texas is a pull yourself up by your own bootstraps thing, and what do you mean you're homeless? Go get a job.
One of the things that really touched Annette's heart was the fact that she began to see more families, and she thought that shouldn't happen. I hate to say this, there are a lot of public officials that would love to be able to hide behind the mantra, that's not my problem, it's not my jurisdiction, I want to help. And that would be true. I mean, by law, we're not supposed to do that. Mayor Strauss said, you know what, Mr. Lobbyist, we're going to change the law.
And it required Annette on her own to change the laws of the state of Texas. And it was nothing to her. She came down here and just went all over this place like a busy bee, talking to everybody And needless to say,
Out of that, we literally changed the law. She raised the money, and we built a shelter that for the first time that was dedicated solely for families that were homeless. And it is now one of the most unique and one of the most effective agencies we have in the city to help families that need help.
Please help those less fortunate among us to make it on their own again and provide a good life for themselves and their children. Faith in tomorrow begins with you.
This lady was fair. She believed in fairness. I don't care what you say and what you do. Wherever you go, you cannot beat that. Fairness. That's what she was about.
One thing I have to say is most everybody thought they were Annette's best friend. And that's the truth, because that's the way she made you feel. And she felt you were. And you know, some people say, well, how many best friends can you have? She had the capacity to have a lot of them.